אז כמו שאנחנו רואים ושומעים כאן, הרבה חברות ומיזמים מנסים ליצור פלטפורמות שמקבלות החלטות אוטומטיות ללא התערבות של גורם אנושי, אבל עדיין במציאות הנוכחית רוב הנתונים אמנם מעובדים ומנוהלים אולי על ידי AI, אבל ההחלטה בסוף מתקבלת על ידי אדם בשר ודם. האם אנחנו רוצים להגיע לעולם שבו החלטות מתקבלות באופן אוטומטי, מכני, בלי התערבות אנושית? האם זה תהליך נכון? האם זה תהליך בריא? האם בכל מקום, בכל עולם, איך ייראה, ואיך עולם ה-DI ייראה בעוד 5 או 10 שנים? אז נגיד שוב שלום לדוקטור לוריאן פרט. Hello, back again with us. Good you're here because we have some questions to follow on with. כמו שאמרנו, מחלוצות הבינה המלאכותית בעולם. ושלום לעומרי קול, מייסד ומנכ"ל פירמיד אנליטיקס. שלום. ולפרופסור גל צ'צ'יק, מנהל מרכז המחקר של NVIDIA בישראל. Hello. To all three of you again.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Let's hold this conversation in English, of course. And I think that what we need now is some real-world examples of DI, okay? Where can we apply this and make a change in a way that we can all grasp and understand?
So it's a great question, and AI, first of all, for decision making can be applicable for any use case, in any company, in any industry. One example would be the traction of churn of customers. Can I predict which customer of mine is at risk of churning? And we talked about actions. What do I need to do in order to prevent that customer from churning?
Okay, so decision intelligence for that instance is, hey, this is Chaim. Chaim is tired. Help him.
So let's think that Chaim is working actually at some company, and his customers are bank customers, and he wants to see which one of them might churn, and he can look at their satisfaction rate, the deposit that they have at the bank, the number of inquiries that they had for the branch, and by that, AI can predict, according to those scenarios, what is the risk of this person to churn.
Okay, another example perhaps?
Go ahead.
So I'm doing decision intelligence for telecommunications companies, where they have fiber up on poles, and they also have infrastructure, and there's computers up on the poles and down in the holes, and they're trying to decide how to get your internet to be faster. And they have some choices they can make about should they improve the fiber in your neighborhood or should they improve the fiber in your neighborhood. And in order to make that decision, they need to use an AI model that predicts how subscribers will grow. They need to use an AI model that predicts the cost of electricity in the different regions. And so the way I do decision intelligence in this world is I have a number of different AI models that get orchestrated together in order to make a decision as to who should get the faster internet, because they don't have unlimited money, and it's a $3 trillion spend worldwide.
So let me see if I got it correct. AI will bring you the notion of cost and opportunity. DI will tell you this is where you should go.
Exactly. It's basically decision intelligence is the connection between the data that I'm collecting and an algorithm that helps me to take the next action in order to correct or fix or improve the situation that I'm about to experience.
Professor Chechik.
Well, one second. So I work at NVIDIA, and most people know NVIDIA as a company that produces graphics cards for gaming. But in fact, these cards are basically accelerated computing, and someone suddenly discovered that accelerated computing is key important for accelerating deep network, what makes AI actually work. So with such fast computing, you can do a lot of decisions that are micro decisions, not necessarily like big decisions. Every time you go to Netflix and someone recommends a movie for you, every time you go on Amazon and want to make a purchase, the system recommends for you. And deciding what to recommend to you is tons of micro decisions that are automated, and people cannot do that, right? Just machines can do them.
All right. So if we can dive a little bit into DI, again, in a level that we can all identify with, what is it made of? So if I open the hood?
Yep. So basically, organizations, humans, companies, either in private or public sector, collect and acquire tons of data. This data is useless if you don't use it and if you don't apply any useful actions behind it. So decision intelligence is basically the connection between the data that organizations are collecting and the AI that allows us to make decisions based on that data. The idea is to actually take the questions that are answered by historical data and predict or help us to take the action for the future.
Is this applicable to any field? I mean, how much work is required to adjust to any given business or sector?
Well, first of all, it is relevant for everybody, for every person, for every organization. I would say that the more data you have, the more interesting or complex decisions you can take. We work in the industrial area, in retail, in banking, in insurance, and eventually you can see that decision-making is made of the same challenges, regardless of industry.
All right.
Well, part of our work is to make AI applicable to more and more domains. There are cases where you have decision support systems, and sometimes you have decision-making systems. Decision support system, like if a doctor looks at a scan, you can point to them where are suspicious areas. Decision-making, you can make recommendations for them what action to take. And in some cases, systems actually make the decision, like the micro-decisions I mentioned earlier.
Well, what I understand is that it is a gray scale between AI and DI, right? It's not like you have it or you don't have it. You may have some degree, right, of DI.
Typically, AI is used to label things or to predict things. And the big difference is what Omri said earlier, is DI uses that as a piece of the puzzle to do what you guys need to do today. Your decision to come here was a decision about an action that led to an outcome. My decision to fly here from Colorado was a decision about an action that led to an outcome. And so to answer your question, decision intelligence can be very widespread, and we can use it in many, many different kinds of situations. I even use it for my simplest decisions. Sometimes I just draw a picture, or I think about the actions and the outcomes. Sometimes it is well justified to bring in the data. And it sort of depends on the impact of the decision and its complexity.
All right, so I want to look at one of the sectors that is most hyped right now. Omniverse, metaverse, virtual world, you can name it whatever you like. So when the world of simulation meets the world of AI, how virtual world will assist us in, will assist both AI and humans to become more accurate and do less mistakes in the real world in areas of AV, climate change, robotics, etc. Gal, would you like to start with that?
Sure. So there are cases where you make a decision and you just make a decision and go on with your life. But there are many cases where you operate in some complicated system, and once you make an action, the environment changes. There are huge successes, for example, in games. When you play Go or chess, you make a move, then your opponent makes a move, and everything kind of depends on the sequence of actions. Now, chess and Go are simple. When you want to make actions in the real world, and your actions actually change the environment, you need very good simulators that simulate the environment, they simulate other agents, other people in that environment, so you can train and learn how to make decisions. Let me just remind that in AI, the way that AI works is you basically try again and again until you become good at something. So you really need a very fast and accurate simulator to train your agents.
You know, I'm wondering if there's a sector in which I can find two brains, computational brains, working one against the other, trying to outsmart on real time. There has to be a world that this process is happening in, right?
So in a way, this is how people, and there's a field called reinforcement learning, where basically you take machines and you let them play against themselves. So you take copies and you play them against themselves. Now, this is about games, but it's also useful, let's say, for autonomous vehicles, right? You have models of a lot of drivers, and they all drive, and you want to train them how to behave when the other guy behaves in some weird ways.
All right.
Dror, you've just invented general autonomous adversarial networks. That's exactly what the best performing systems do, is we set up two brains that work against each other. And we can use our high performance compute for that. We can use it for simulation of how your actions lead to your outcomes. But we can also use the high performance compute to say, okay, what would our best actions be? Let's move backwards. Let's let the computer help us find that sweet spot that helps us make the best trade-off between my goals and your goals if we're adversarial.
Omri, I know what you want to say. Price strategy optimization, right?
Unbelievable. I think you're using decision intelligence to ask me questions. Well, the previous question sounded to me like the end of the world, but I will say that even in decision intelligence, you can do A/B testing, or you can test one strategy against the other. And go back to your pricing question, when we go to customers that have struggles with finding and optimizing their pricing for a certain product, for a certain region, for a certain outcome, decision intelligence based on data that is collected within the organization, applying AI on the mass, and trying to combine those strategies together allows the organization to eventually come up with a very clear pricing strategy that can be tested in the market. We keep collecting data and improving as we go, so it's an iterative process.
All right. So now if I could hear each and everyone's thoughts in this room right now, I think that would sum up into the following question. Fears and threats. People fear changes in habits, in roles, and their own status in the eyes of the world and their own perception, up to a point of becoming redundant. How justified are those fears, and what can be done? To make it simple, will this replace us?
So you want to take it? So first of all, I think the answer is no. There shouldn't be fear. I think AI and decision intelligence is empowering us as human beings.
But if this machine will make the decisions that I'm being paid for making right now, then I'm redundant once this is installed.
So I think that with AI, we're empowering people. We're making you a better person or a better employee or a better worker in any organization, in any industry. We're augmenting those capabilities from AI to us, and we can take out some of the decisions that you need to make on a daily basis and free your time to actually worry about the things that currently AI is less capable of doing, like being creative, being innovative, etc.
Also, decision intelligence takes the safety of AI to the next level. It's a very inclusive technology. We create these decisions collaboratively, ideally with a very diverse group of people. And as we run the decision models, you saw my videos, you get to see how it's thinking. You get to see that this action leads to this thing, leads to this thing. And so core to decision intelligence is its transparency, in a way that AI, at least until recently, has not been as transparent. DI was designed to reduce your fear, to increase your empowerment, to increase transparency.
Professor Chechik.
Very shortly. I think we are very, very far from these fears. I think the interesting part is that people understand and make decisions in one way. Machines do it in a very different way. People understand why something happens. Machines currently, they just pick up patterns. So what we actually see in every system that AI comes in is a hybrid system where people and machine kind of work together. Each one gives their own strength. And I think that usually works best.
I want to thank you all so much. Professor Gal Chechik from NVIDIA, Dr. Lorianne Pratt, and עמרי קול, מייסד ומנכ"ל פירמיד אנליטיקס, שאנחנו עוד ניפגש עוד מעט לקצת dive in. Thank you so much for broadening our horizons on this intriguing area.